Hey, what's going on, Bomb Squad? It's official. You are in the Kilo Bravo Delta Zone. You guys, thank you for tuning in tonight. We're going to be talking about real estate photos, real estate photography, how to get it done. I'm going to share some tips with you. We're going to talk about some lenses and some camera bodies, and I'm going to give you the bare minimum to the bare maximum. Welcome to the 7705 Pacific Standard Time broadcast, you guys. This is the Bomb Squad community. This is how we meet virtually. We meet in the mornings, doing morning motivation, 7:30, 35 Pacific Standard Time. And then again, we meet again at 7 o'clock twice a day. Tonight, we're going to talk a little technical business tonight. I'm going to do a deep dive. Get ready. So if you're interested in real estate photography, photographing interiors, you'll definitely be able to walk away with something valuable. I guaranteed, guys. What's going on? Thank you. Thank you very much. I appreciate that, you guys. So here we are tonight. I'm dual broadcasting onto YouTube. You guys, I'm massaging my YouTube. Matter of fact, I'm going to be in Las Vegas. You see the picture there. You see that little picture right there? I'm going to be in Las Vegas the 2nd through the 4th. I'm going to be one of the panelists, but I'm also going to be there as a student because I am looking at how I can basically push my YouTube channel forward. And although Periscope and Facebook has been very good for me, essentially Periscope and Twitter, I'm not abandoning it at all, you guys. I'm just figuring out how to spread the message across the board. So that's what I'm working on. If you don't know me, if this is your first time, you guys, be sure to share out the broadcast tonight. It's going to be very specific. You know, it's going to be very specific, but you can always learn something from a landscape standpoint, and you can also learn something from a lens standpoint. So we're going to get started. We're not going to be too long, and then I am definitely going to rebroadcast on Facebook right after this because this message is really important, you guys. So you guys may have saw this posting. The first baby of the Bomb Squad, Zuri, she did a posting. And she said, basically, you guys respond with, I am in the Bomb Squad. That's all you got to do, because we're doing a count right now. We want to see how many people are actually in the actual community. So Zuri wanted to take count. She's working on her numbers right now. So yes, we're putting her to work early. So she's working on her numbers, and she's also learning how to write. Isn't that amazing, you guys? So Zuri said, hey, let's take a count and see who's in here. And you got to respond by the 8th. If you don't respond by the 8th, I'm basically, you're going to just be deleted out of the group. You can always reapply, but if we hit that 300 number cap, you're going to be put on a wait list until someone drops out. And then we're going to start verifying probably, once a quarter. So once a quarter. So you'll have to wait about 3 months to get into the Bomb Squad. So we don't have the time or the resources to do it every month. So it would be every quarter we would do a roll call and bring people back. So matter of fact, let's do a roll call right now and see who's in the scope. We're going to do it on both sides. I know Michelle is over here on the YouTube side. Let me see who's on Periscope right now. Let me see who's on Periscope. Name and location. Be sure to put in your first name if you're super brand new. Maryland from Missouri. There's my daughter, Stephanie Dixon. Yes. Did you see Zuri's picture, Stephanie? Let me show. I got to show her this photo, you guys. Steve from Ontario. Deb Davis. What's going on? Captain JJ all day. Tamashian, what's up? Captain Joe all day. Yes. Hey, Stephanie, look at this while I'm roll calling people in. Zuri did her first posting. There he is. Marcus from New Orleans. What's going on? Yes. Tamashian. What up, doe? What up, doe? Yes. Jim. What's up, my man, Jim? What's up, JR? Yes. Glad to see you, brother Adrian from New York. Yes. Hey, I'm just trying to make it work, you guys. So, if you just tuned in, you guys, and what you see right here is a picture of my granddaughter. She's the first grandbaby of the Bomb Squad, and she's requesting that you guys sound off so we can know who's in the Bomb Squad. You have until the 8th, and what we're going to do is we're just going to check you off of the sound off, and you're officially in the group. And then we're going to establish our core members, and then our core one members. A core one member is somebody who is super engaging, so to speak. So that's how we're gonna line this up. So Zuri is requesting that you guys definitely sound off. This is her first responsibility to the bomb squad. What do you guys think, huh? Oh, you're welcome. It went well. So Steve, let me pause for a second. Steve, so that worked out for you guys? I mean, that worked out for you? Can you just put in a couple of comments for me? Let me know how those shutter speeds worked out and kind of what you did. And I know, huh? Zuri is she's a little something else, I tell you. So Steve, drop some comments in so we can see what's going on, and then we're gonna chug along, you guys, because we got a lot of information to cover today. So if you see me looking over to the left or right, I'm just basically looking at the screens and looking at your comments as well. It worked well? Okay, fantastic. Maybe you can scope about it, that way we can kind of get the before I thought about it and then the after I thought about it, and in the middle, obviously, while I was thinking about it. What's up, Tony J from the D-Town? What up, doe? Okay, moving on. Hey, you guys, so I have that 90 PT program. It is still in effect. You can still join. You know what? You can watch the videos at any time. It is 90 minutes of grind, photography grind, as it relates to marketing, sales, lighting, photography, basics, fundamentals, business, you guys. But it is taught from a completely different perspective. Just ask anybody in the program. And typically on some of the assignments, I will task you to do something, task you to turn in some work, some photos, whatever the case may be. That is the 90 PT. You invest up front. Come on now. You invest up front, and it boils down to monthly to, as much money as you would spend on a Starbucks. The only thing is the Starbucks goes in and out, and guess what? The knowledge stays in there for a while. So there it is right there. All right, you guys. You can sign up for the 90 PT. It's real simple. You just go to the website here, and you can, if you're not sure when you get there what to do, just basically email me, DM me, however it works. But there's the website right there. It's workshops.keithbdixon.online, and that'll be a great way to communicate that with you. All right, let's dive into this. We got to dive into some work. We got to go to work. You guys ready to go to work? What's up? Who? Tell me your first name, because I see it look like the phone is kind of far away. I'm getting older, so you know what they say about the eyesight, right? Tell me your first name. What's up, Michelle? Joseph. Captain JJ is on the YouTube side. Okay, let's dive into this here. These are facts, you guys. These are facts that you should definitely know about as we work through these next couple of slides. So, as a photographer, professionally, you guys, you've got to invest in yourself. There's just no way around it. You have to invest in yourself. And part of being a total professional is having professional lenses. Now, I'm just going to point out I can't point out all the lenses that I use, but because it really depends on the circumstances, but I'm going to point out a majority of the lenses that I use for some of the, I'm going to call them lower end houses. Doesn't mean that they're easy. Doesn't mean that they're any more complex. It's just I do more of these than I do the high end homes. I mean, it just depends on what the market is willing to provide us with. So these are lenses that I use on a regular basis. And here's one, the 20 millimeter. I love this lens because it's minimal distortion, and it just works really well at those 5, 6 to 8, and even at 11 and 13 f-stops. This lens works perfectly. It works. It renders really well. And this is the Nikon. You guys, I photograph with Nikon. Yes, required tools. Thank you, Mike. You just have to have, this is a full frame lens. So if you're a Nikon shooter, this is on the FX platform. And then we have the DX, the crop sensor. I'm not going to talk about crop sensor tonight, but because they're just two different animals, and I don't want to basically overload you with information. So we're going to mostly talk about full frame tonight. This is a full frame lens. And to be honest with you, you should probably have one. It can be done with crop sensor, but I want to get your thinking onto the full frame. So this is the 20 millimeter, minimal distortion, minimal barrel distortion around the edges. And I'm going to show you what barrel distortion looks like even with a great lens. Now, here is my main lens of choice when I'm shooting, 2 or 3 jobs a day. This is my primary tool. This is the 14 to 24, and the reason why I use it. Now watch this. I'm not using it because someone said it was a great lens or it was sharp or this is a lens I should have. I'm using it because it works into my workflow. So if I need 20, I can spin the barrel to 20 and get 20. If I need 14, then I can spin the barrel back to 14 if I need 24, and those are what I use mostly: 24, 20, and 14. There's 15 and I believe 18 in the middle, somewhere around there. Not so much, right? But 20 is magical. 20 is magical. 20 prime is really magical. Minimal distortion at 20 and 24. Unless you are close to a line, and I'm going to show you what that means. Unless you're close to a line, you will experience minimal converging lines and minimal barrel distortion. Now, this is the big daddy of them all right here, you guys. This is no joke. This next lens I'm about to show you is a beast. It is a beast. This is the 24 prime tilt shift. It is dope in terms of the correction that you can make with this. And what it does is it basically prevents keystoning and all those other things that happen inside of your lens. So you can shift it up, side to side. It just kind of depends on what you're trying to do, so you don't have to make those corrections in Photoshop. This lens is approximately $2,100. $2,100. And if you're shooting professionally, you must have one because you may need it. This lens right here is also about $2,100, and we're talking brand new because I'm going to put some mileage on this lens, so I'm going in brand new, right? 21, so that's $4,000. This lens, the one I showed you before right here, about $800. So that is your investment going in to get proper imagery out the gate. Now, we haven't talked camera body yet, so we've got $4,000. We've got close to $5,000 in lenses if you want to be a professional. Now, there's shortcuts. I'm going to show you a shortcut here, and all that means is you're going to do more work. Yep, ship's prow. Yep. Hey, Mike, throw up some of those distortions for me so people can see them as I go through. Ship's prow, converging lines, barrel distortion, pin cushioning, and there's some other ones that I can't think of. Mike, help me out on this. Here it is right here. Samyang, or the Rockinon tilt shift 24. Now look, here's what I'm going to say, you guys. And then, yes, if you're in Canada, definitely add 35% more. You really got to go to work on some customers. Now, here's the deal. This particular lens is manual. These tilt shift lenses are manual, and it is probably only really good at 1 or 2 f-stops, and it's usually 7/1 or 8. So you got to be real careful when you buy a lens like this. There's a lot of other things. It might be a little stiff to turn. You may get chromatic aberrations and flaring and all kinds of stuff at 5/6. So you got to be super careful with this. When you buy this lens, you have to test it at every f-stop and at every millimeter that you turn that barrel. You've got to test it to understand it, because most of the time, when on the MTF chart, you guys, they only have 1 f-stop, and it's usually the biggest opening or the smallest f-stop. And that doesn't tell you anything. It just tells you it's good at that one particular f-stop. Why? I have no idea. Why they would make this lens a 2.8 lens, I have no idea. I mean, I really don't. It should start about 4 or 5 so that we can get to 8 and 13 pretty well. But I don't know. Camera manufacturers and marketing, I have no idea. Okay, you guys, so let's take a look at some photos that I made, and I'm going to tell you why I made them this way and what my thought process was and where I was going. Thank you for inviting people where I was going with this. So as you guys know, I'm a commercial photographer. So imagine a general practitioner. You go to the doctor, and the doctor can pretty much assess any situation, but they don't specialize in maybe the ear. They don't specialize in skin, but they can tell you what's wrong. I'm kind of like that in photography. I am a print on site specialist who just happens to do landscapes and portraits. That's what I do. I don't function outside of that. Occasionally I'll have some clients and they'll say, Keith, we want you to shoot this product for us. You know, we'll pay you whatever. We know you normally don't do that, but we want to stay with one photographer. And then I've got to go call some of my buddies and try to figure some things out and read some books. But for the most part, I've pretty much photographed a lot of everything you can imagine, except for underwater photography. I've experienced a lot. So there's a lot that I can do, and there's a lot that I won't do. I've even photographed babies, by the way, even babies, you guys, and not my own, but other people's babies. I tried that out for a minute. Probably not my cup of tea. All right. So here's some images. As you know, I have a commercial brand, Keith B Dixon Architectural. So I photograph commercial, interiors, and residential. This house was built in 1931 in Oakland, and this is staged by a professional stager, and that's a challenge all in itself, because if they use the wrong type of furniture, it could really mess you up. Like, if they don't minimalize a small space, they should know that right out the gate. Minimalizing a small space, using glass furniture, as you can see, the glass table, small chairs, small sofas, small lamps, see through everything to conceptually make the space bigger to the client as they walk in. Hey, you guys, look, here's the reality. You have to understand design, interior design, how it works, how they think, or you're going to run into a lot of problems. So here's an image I made, and I decided to bring the outside window in focus because as I was talking to the agent, who's been a client of mine probably for like 8 years, she says, you know what, I kind of like how the houses look outside as it relates to the property. And I was like, oh, snap. Okay, bring that into focus. Because let me tell you now, I'm going to throw a curveball at you right now. The neighborhood was busted. Matter of fact, it was so busted. I was in my truck, and we just happened to be standing there looking out the window. This guy rolls by and looks in the back window of my truck to see what was laying on the seat, because he was going to try to do a number. It was the hood. Now, I'm going to tell you, I photographed the high end of 30 mil on down. Those are the kind of agents I work with. Yes. And we're standing right there looking at him. She said, Keith, you didn't leave. Oh, you're smarter than I don't even have to ask you. I didn't leave anything on the seat, but he looked. And that's the kind of neighborhood this is in. So her strategy for selling this property is to make it look great. And my job for selling this property is to make it look great. Now watch this. I want to share something with you guys about making a property look great. And we're going to sidebar for a quick second. If you're in the Bomb Squad community, by the way, make sure that you sound off on the roll call here so that we won't delete you out of the group. We're trying to confirm the 300 people that are in here, so make sure you do that. But I want to take you to this website right here, and it says 6 reasons why a professional home photographer is worth the price. Now, I know a lot of photographers struggle with pricing, and here's what I'm going to say. Typically, photographing a home, especially if you're doing kind of like volume work, is typically around $35 to $45 an hour. Most homes take about 90 minutes, or they should take about 90 minutes, and about 2 hours of post. So that's how much you should be making. And that's all going to depend on the area that you are in. Now, that number could be less. It could be $25 an hour if you're in an area where the real estate prices are somewhat lower. So you have to gauge that. But typically, it's 90 minutes and 90 minutes for a shoot. So that's 3 hours. So you have to allocate 3 hours to the shoot. Is this making sense for you guys? I want you to put in 1.1. 1.1. Let's go. 1.1. There's my. Oh, I got my wife. I got my girls on here tonight. Stephanie, is Zuri watching too? She just made her debut. Is Zuri watching? And there's my wife right there. What's up, baby? How you doing? Oh, she just jumped off. If you guys are just tuning in, my name is Keith B Dixon. This is the Kilo Bravo Delta Zone. Yes. Zuri's probably trying to grab the phone, right, Stephanie? Okay. So look, here's the deal, you guys. Here's an article, and you can read this, and basically, great photos can add about 33% additional income to a property. Now, I'm going to say this both to a home seller and home buyer. home seller and home buyer. If I was selling my home and the agent came in and shot a photo like this with their cell phone, and believe me, they do it. They do it, you guys. Agents will come in and they will represent your property. They will represent your property with a photo just like this. I've seen even agents who do high volume do the same thing. Hey, Keith, can you come out here for $80 and shoot this property? No. Look, they don't care about the window being blown out. The shutter speed was slow. The smartphones, I don't care how good it is. They can't render the light properly like a professional camera. You get poor detail, poor color, right? Just made the staging look busted. Poor quality. People represent photos. If you don't believe me, just log on to Trillia, any of those websites, and you're going to see these kind of photos. I guarantee you. I don't know why home sellers allow their homes to be represented this way. It is a travesty. But I can tell you why from a realtor standpoint, because I've been working for realtors for the last 20 years. And I'm going to tell you, you might have a realtor that sells 5 homes a year. Their number one goal is to put as much money in their pocket as possible. They could care less. Matter of fact, they'll tell you, well, you might say, where is the professional photographer that's going to come in and basically take photos of my house? No, you know what? We don't need to do that. I'm just going to snap a few. This won't even be on the market long. That's what they tell you. The market is so hot right now. Why? You know what? Because you're the one that's going to have to pay for that. It's coming out of the cost. Well, you know what? It's not going to be on the property. People don't care about that kind of stuff. That's what they say. But when you go in and you read these studies, right, it's a whole different ball game. Because you know what they're saying? People, let me take a survey right now. How do you think people find homes? You guys, drop in one word. How do you think people find out when they're getting ready to buy their homes? How do you think they find them? Everybody knows the answer to this. Zillow, the internet. Drop in some words for me. Let's go. We gotta let these realtors know that we're a little smarter at the internet, the web. They're looking at photos. And if the photo looks busted, now don't argue. It depends. It depends. The photography should be a part of the realtor's marketing plan. Watch this. The photography should be a part of the realtor's marketing plan. Ultimately, well, let me tell you, like, I know some clients. I have real estate agents, right? They come in and say, you know what, we're going to market your property, and they take that out of their commission, and then the bond, whatever's left over, that's their money, so that you don't have to pay for it. I know agents like that. Are all agents like that? I'm going to tell you no, but I'm going to pray for the agent that comes in with a cell phone on my property, because I'm not going to tell him I'm a photographer. And I'm going to say, you know what? Can't rock with you, right? I need you to represent, because I've worked with enough agents to know better. You got to bring in a team, you guys. Let's go. Those are the great agents. And I'm going to tell you, only 1% of the agents are actually doing 80% of the business out there. So, and if you know what, I'm not beating agents up. The research is right here. It's right here, you guys. Here it is. There's a bunch of articles on here. 15 surprising real estate facts you should know. Agents who outsource photography earn twice as much commission as those who do not. Only 35% of the agents use professional photographers. Now, that's Inman. Inman is a creditable real estate news service. It's been around probably 20, 30 years. I don't know if you guys know that. Look at this. Listings below $300 don't necessarily sell faster with better photos. Wall Street Journal. Not necessarily. So there's a bottom threshold. Professional photography can help sell your listing 39% closer to the original listing price. Moto Photo. Homes with professional photos get 61% more views. I've seen that study. Redfin. Look at that, you guys. Oh, thank you. I got excited. Y'all. I got excited. Here's where I'm reading from right here. Thank you, Michelle. See, y'all be looking out for me. You see that? These are, hey, it's here. It's listed here, you guys. And they cite. You know, that's what I love about good websites. They cite. You guys, that's why you in the Kilo Bravo Delta zone, the Keith B Dixon zone, baby, all day. Listings with high quality photos can gain anywhere between $900 and $116,000 more on the market. Wall Street Journal. You guys see this? Isn't this amazing information? Come on now. Here's one more. You cannot ignore professional photography and real estate listing investments. Spicing up your marketing, statistics prove it. Why do you need the best photos? You guys can read through this. You can Google this. You can just Google the topic. If your realtor's arguing with you, if they're arguing with this, probably not your client if you're trying to develop a business from this, because that $85 that you're charging is not going to sustain you, because remember, you are going to invest 3 hours per job. That is, if you are flowing efficiently, you are going to invest 3 hours. How much is that 3 hours worth? Because if we divide $85 by 3 hours, you are not making that much money. Somebody divide 85 by 3 and put it in the screen for me so we can cement that. Thank you. Drop that in for me, you guys. 85 divided by 3. I want you to put that in the screen so that we can see what that really means. 85, 28. You are working for $28.33 if you can get $35 an hour. If. The question is if, because that number will change. Okay, let's take a look at another photo. Here's another perspective. I'm in the closet. This is intentional, you guys. This is an intentionally positioned photograph, because before we get straight on, and when I'm making images, I always think about what people want to see when they're walking in. I am photographing from a potential buyer's perspective and thought. That's how I make my images, you guys. That's how I frame them up. My lens choice is based on that process alone. Now, I know that sounds kind of complicated. It is. It's years of repetition, and I'm just learning how to translate that information so that it makes sense. Now, you notice how the door is over here, how you can see out of that door? Well, when I cropped it in, not only did it make the space look smaller, but it felt trapped. So you know what? I left that partial doorway there because just an inch behind is the door seal, and it didn't look right with the door seal. So what I want them to see is the other side of the room. I want them to see how long it is, and if they stand there and look, I want them to see the same thing that they saw in the photograph. That's my number one goal. I want you to see the property as the person would actually see it online. So when they walk in, it was like, oh, this is that room. Not, whoa, the photos are better than the room. Or, this is better than the photos. If they have that experience, it's an epic fail on both sides, because maybe you shouldn't have took the photographs, or maybe you didn't do the house the justice that it needed to be done. Whatever the case may be, it's an epic fail. Composite ticket. Do you use lighting at all? Okay, let's pause for a second. Rarely do I use any lighting, you guys, because remember, I'm going out at the minimum. I might want to make I'm going to give you a minimum, $55 an hour. I'm going to start with the whole lighting concept. And I'm going to tell you that my decision is based on money. So I want to make $55 an hour on a shoot like this. I'm not going to set up any lights, because the minute I set up those lights, I'm cutting into my hourly. It's not going to work. I'm not going to make 55. The number's going to go down because I'm going to be there longer. Typically, I might be doing 3 of these a day. I got to get up out of here. So I don't use any lighting. And in some circumstances, I've come to realize that I do need some fill, and that's when I break out the Lume Cube and add fill. Now, that's the only time. Or at night, when I need to light up the front of the property, I will use lights. But outside of that, no. This is all exposure based. Identifying the exposure from the light is light to the dark is dark, and everything in between, the midtones, and putting those together. Lume cubes, Lume, Lume cube. And there is I do have a Lume cube code, if someone could put that in there. I do have a Lume cube code that will save you some money if you decide to order those. Too much clutter on the coffee table. Yeah, you know, that's the designer thing. You know, you can't. And here's the thing: when you go to these properties, sometimes the staging is the staging. You know, this is a $500 job. I'm getting in, I'm getting out. I'm not going to fuss with it unless it's something that detracts from the image in a great way. And let's take a look at it. I'm not going to split hairs about that. So there's one perspective, the main perspective, and then this is what I call a fill shot. So the code is Bomb Squad. There it is. Thank you, Michelle. So, and then this next shot is basically a fill shot. So the pay depends on the area. Yes, greatly. The type of property, the type of agent that you're working on, because I could tell you what I'm getting doesn't mean that you can actually get it. You have to feel that agent out, and you have to trust that they're actually telling you the truth. That's the hard part. So you have to, and that's a conversation you have. If they're telling you that they only pay $125, the question is why? Why is it 125? And you can look, I would use square footage as a cap. So 2,000 feet for $125, you're getting kind of raked over the coals a little bit. You should be around $250. So 2,500 square feet, $250. That's a gauge, you guys. I don't want to get into the whole price collusion type of thing because, you know, that's not free market. But 2,500 square feet, $250. The thing, if you really want to be able to set, yes, 300, yes, there it is right there. That's a good, there it is, 300 for 3,000 square feet. That is a fair price. Windows not blown out, but room still exposed properly. No posts. Yeah, and let me say this: blowing out the windows is not necessarily a bad thing. Sometimes the outside doesn't look that great, and you artistically you can blow the windows out because people look outside and they're like, oh, it looks kind of hood or ghetto out there or rough. They might not want to go out and see the property. So you got to make good judgment calls. Is it ethical? Well, you know what? I don't know if it's a matter of being ethical. You're not really hiding anything. I don't know. You just have to use your judgment on it, to be honest with you guys. Because, you know, if it's looking bad outside, it's going to detract from the photo. So you have to use your judgment call on whether you're going to blow the windows or not. So keep that in mind. Here, there was trees, so I made the decision. But I'm going to show you another photo where, you know, I just kind of took it down a bit because right next door was a tear down. So I'm just saying. This is all bracketed photos. So what I'm doing, and then I'm going to explain this to you. I'm going to give you guys the real quick answer to how I get these photos. These are all bracketed photos. There's no big secret. And back in the day, we used to blend them together in Photoshop. It used to take forever. So but when I first started doing this, it was like, okay, you get 10 photos, and it took longer. So we're bracketing in camera. Now the key is, how are you bracketing those photos? Can you look at that light and know that it is separating, or the transition between the lights and darks? And I don't really know how to say this, but I'm going to say it this way. The transition between the light and the dark as it's changing on grayscale is approximately a third, a tenth, a half, a whole stop difference, and that's how you set your exposure. So this is where your experience comes in. You've got to look at that and know, I'm going to bracket in third stops, and I'm going to start at one particular f-stop because it works great for the lens, and I'm going to bracket there, and that's how you get those clean photos. The tough part here is I cannot teach you how to see that. because I don't know myself. For me, I learned it through repetition. I've shot thousands of homes, you guys. Mostly 5 frames for me. Yes, mostly 5 frames. The only time I'm going to do 3 frames is when the light is really flat, because then you can crank it out. But I mostly do 5 frames, and that's a workflow issue more than anything. Yes. So I do 5 frames because I know I can get 5 frames from start to finish. So if you go 3 frames and then you switch over to 5 frames, you switch over to 7 frames, let me tell you what's going to happen. You won't be able to batch process the photos. And that's where you make up time in post-production, is batch processing, because then all you got to do at that point is go in and make minimal corrections and you're out. So you can make that 90-minute post time. 90-minute post time, you guys. Is this making sense for you? I know this is a very specific scope for most of us as it relates to photography, but this is something we definitely have to talk about. I'm literally looking at the light on these photographs, and I'm looking at the difference in the light. The last house I shot, I did 5 bracketed frames. That would be good. I use Photomatics. I've used Photomatics for as long as I've been a photographer. When it first came out, I've tried everything, but Photomatics for me just works the best. And I've got some presets that I've fought through to get the consistency. So a lot of the agents that I work for, their photos are always very consistent. It's a consistent look and feel, and any photographer that sees my work on an MLS knows, oh, Keith probably shot this, because they consistently look the same. And I shoot very square, and I'm going to talk about that in just a second. So my shooting is very square. So let's dive into, I showed you guys this super bad photo right here. Look, it can't be done on a smartphone. I don't care how good you are. You can go in and set up a tripod. It's not going to get you there. You need professional equipment to get it done. Is it done? Is this live? Tell me what you mean by live. This is definitely live. The broadcast is live. Okay, let's talk about where I'm at. This is the original photo out of the camera right here, you guys. Well, not the original. This is the original merge. Okay, good. Okay, good. This is the original merge. It's before I make the correction. So I pick out. Well, I don't really pick out anymore. I used to do that. Now this is a bracketed photo. This comes in. It brackets in Photomatics, and then it comes out, and I start working on the distortion. So as you can see, there's barrel distortion. If you look at the door, that's what we call barrel distortion, and you can see it on the picture frame. You have to correct that. And then you have what's called those converging lines. The lines aren't supposed to tilt down like that, but sometimes you can't help it. The door frame is stretched out, and then that roof line, you got to make sure that stays straight. Although it's converging, you have to make sure that it stays straight, and then the photo is just a little crooked. Now I use a leveler inside the camera, and I don't know, I didn't put the leveler. Let me just add it real quick. I'm gonna show you the leveler because I forgot that slide. So I'm gonna do a on the fly edit here. Let me see if I can get this done really quick while I'm talking to you guys. If you have any questions, I'm gonna look over here while I'm doing double duty, and I'm just gonna Lightroom out a photo for you guys really quick. Give me a second. This is what I love about Wirecast. I'm using Wirecast right now, and the shoe mount level, yes, there it is. I'm going to show you guys a picture of it, and there's a level on your tripod that works if you don't have one. I mean, you can get away with it, but the problem with that, you guys, is it's not on the camera per se. It's not sitting in the camera. And that's the thing. Okay, I didn't bring that photo in, you guys. So we're gonna chug along here. So there's a level. It's a little square cube. It slides right into hot shoe, and it sits on top of the camera. And it's almost like you're leveling from the top, if that's a way to think about it. Somebody who has engineering experience would probably be able to give you a more sophisticated answer, but I want to level from the top and not the bottom where the tripod is. I want to make sure that the level is closest to the top of the lens. Yes. So here we go. Now, here's the final photograph for that room. Did I bring that one in? I didn't bring that one in. Let me show you this. So here's one of the photos, one of the finals that I did for this bedroom. And you guys saw the challenges. We still have a little convergence. As you can see, the walls kind of bend. Since this house was built in 1931, all the architecture is pretty similar. It has a Jack and Jill bathroom and all that kind of stuff. That was pretty common to do back then, to share a bathroom. I guess they thought that was ingenious back then. But as you can see, my goal was to make sure that my line up top was straight, and then I reduced the convergence as much as possible. And then here's that classic situation, because right out this window is a very bad looking house, like a terrible looking one. So, and the roof was kind of raggedy right here, so I just worked in basically a blend. Now, you don't always have to turn on the lights. This agent, she likes her lights on. In this case, I turned them on because this was really dark in here, and it would have just created a tougher exposure with that light coming through the window and then that dark ceiling. So I made a decision to turn them on, but you don't have to. You don't have to turn the lights on. All right. There we go. Any questions? I'm going to pause for some questions. If you guys are just tuning in, my name is Keith B Dixon. I am a commercial photographer, you guys. I photograph commercial properties for a living, as well as corporate events and just all kinds of stuff. You know, that's just what I do, you guys. So I'm going to pause for some questions. Any questions, you guys? Any questions? Any questions? Okay. Now, I'm going to show you the correction. I'm going to show you the correction from this one particular photo. Getting clients? Okay. I'll definitely talk about that. Okay, we're just about wrapped here. So here's the photo right here. You guys saw that, and I'm going to show you the corrected version of that photo right here. So you notice how I lined the edge of the frame up with the edge of the wall? That's what I used to make sure it was straight. And as you can see, the outside, I wanted to open the door because I want people to understand that when they walk in here, they're going to see the bathroom and not mistake that for a closet. Because they could look at that and say, oh, there's the closet, and then get there and realize, oh, that is the bathroom. The baseboard, that's actually, now remember, this house was built in 1931, you guys. 1931. And you know, that's the baseboard is actually a really good question, because when you over process the image, it'll do that weird stuff to the baseboard, but that's at the actual baseboard itself. Good starter lens for Nikon. Okay. Remember to, yeah, and put the toilet seats down. And don't show the toilet as much as possible. That's another one. Don't show the toilets. That's a bad thing in a photo. And you could see, I'm just in there enough where you could see the bowl, and then you know that that's basically the bathroom. And that's the only way I'm going to do something like that, because this is a Jack and Jill bathroom. So people got to know that. And they're going to know it once they see the bathroom photos. But I want them to see that perspective coming into the room so that they don't mistake it for a closet. All right, so we got best lens and how to get clients. You guys, let me get out of here. All right, now I'm going to take best lens first because it's an easy question. I think starting out, until you get used to dealing with distortion, a 20 prime would be a good ideal. And something that this is something I'm thinking about doing, you guys. I'm really thinking about doing this. I'm thinking about buying a series of Sigma lenses, the art series, because I've just been reading a lot of good stuff about it and hearing a lot of good stuff about it. So I'm thinking about doing that. And I think the benefit would be not only creating great photos, great rate for residential photography. Okay, I'm going to get to that question. I would be able to actually talk about it, like, okay, this is really good from this standpoint, and I think that would help out a lot, because not a lot of people are going to be able to pay $2,000 for a lens. That's not a real option starting out. It's something you might have to grow into. Now, as far as cost, real estate cost of the jobs, Sigma makes a 20. Yeah, I think so. I can remember. Matter of fact, I went through a list the other day and I was looking at all the lenses they make in the art series, and I think I saw a 20 millimeter, because that's, for some reason, that's what I was kind of stuck, because I shoot 20. The price you charge should be based on your workflow, to be honest with you. It should really be based on your workflow. And I threw out a $35 price point, and the time that I think it should take: 90 minutes to shoot the house, 90 minutes to process the photos, no more than 2 hours. And base your price on that and shoot it back to the client. So that's what I'm going to say. Base it on your workflow and not the market. That way you can feel good about covering yourself. But if you base it on the realtor's price or what other people are doing, you're probably going to lose money. And sometimes you got to argue with the realtor, you guys. I have plenty of times. I'm not going to do it. It's not going to happen. Sorry, I can't do the job. No. They get mad too. That's the reality. Now, there was another question in there about how to get business, right? When you look up tech performance specs on lenses, some Sigmas outperform. This is very true. Very true. I use the 14 prime, 14 to 24 prime, and 20 prime, tilt shift, 24 tilt shift. And I use those lenses for very specific reasons, not because of, it's not because of what I read only. It's because if I'm out there, I don't want to be switching out the lenses to shoot something, because I'm running through. I got 90 minutes. Matter of fact, you guys, I allot 90 minutes, but I try to get it done in 60, literally, because now I'm saving money and I can keep my prices pretty steady. So that's just what I do. All right. How do you get business? Rate response. The scope froze. Okay. The rate. So for the rate, make your rate based on your workflow. How long is it going to take you? And here's the benchmark. 90 minutes to shoot the house. It shouldn't take longer than 90 minutes. And I'm going to tell you why, how I came up with 90 minutes. If the agent is there with you, they probably got things on their schedule that they need to do. So you got to get up out of there. And one of the complaints that I always hear from agents is the photographer took too long. They brought out all, and I hear this is the last. I couldn't make a shoot, you guys, and the agent hired this other photographer, and I was like, how did it go? She was like, she was all right. She was very nice, Keith. The photos were good, but she just took too long. And I was like, wow. She was like, yeah, she took way too long, setting up lights and all that kind of stuff, because they're used to the way that I shoot. She was like, no, I'm going to, I'll wait next time, literally. So that's what I'm gauging it on. 90 minutes, and then 90 minutes to 2 hours of post. Once you get your workflow down, you should be set. Now, there was a question about getting business, and I'm going to talk about getting business. Yes. 90 minutes on location, 90 minutes to an hour. I'm going to say if you're just starting out, you're in the middle, probably take you like 2 hours to get the photos done. But it should take you about 90 minutes. Here's the other deal. Getting business. Working with realtors is tricky, because when they first meet you, they're going to hustle you. They're going to tell you this is what they pay. This is what they paid the other realtor. And because you want the business, you probably go along with it. Most photographers do. They're just happy to get the call. I don't operate like that. I'm going to go on to see if they're really selling. And when they call me up, I'm like, how many properties do you do a year? And if they say 5, I'm going to give them a rate that's worth 5 properties for me. And if they don't take it, they don't take it. I'm not going to die over losing 5 properties. We've got to come to a firm understanding about what the price point is. And we have to agree on it. And I got to know that if I give you a price point, then you're going to call me out every time that you have one. Now, if they don't, they don't. And that's the way you kind of have to look at it. The type of agent that you're looking for is an agent who is doing a certain number of properties per year. Because if you do a one-off, you're not going to be able to survive. That way you can get 5 agents and know that around those 5 agents, you're going to get 20 to 30 or 40 properties a year at a certain price point. So that's how you have to look at it. So you have to interview the agent as well. What's a good lens for a wedding? I would definitely roll with the Trinity, and the Trinity is a 70 to 200, a wide, a 14 to 24, and these are all 2.8 lenses, and 14 to 24 and 24 to 70. That's like standard operating. And then get you a 50 and a 35, and probably a 60. A 60 is good for group shots. I hope that helps. Is this working out for you guys? Is this working out for you guys? If it is, I want you to put in a Wi-Fi for me. If this is working out for you, you're like, Keith, you know, we're learning a lot here. Throw up a Wi-Fi for me. Let's go. If you guys are just tuning in, Keith B Dixon, this is how we do it. I'm going to get up out of here, you guys. Can you cover real estate lenses again? Yes. And you guys, I'm going to rebroadcast right after this on Facebook as well. So I'm going to jump onto Facebook right after this, and I'm going to rebroadcast this as well. Let's talk about lenses really quick. I'm going to go through this pretty fast. So here are the lenses that I use. I have more, but these are the lenses that I use. And I'm going to throw in another one right off the top. How many properties do I shoot annually? Last year, I think it was like 350. I shot 350 properties last year, and that was a record number for me only because I covered a photographer who was on vacation and for about 2 months. How do I handle the small half bathrooms? Those are challenging. What's the most you can shoot in a day? The most I've done in a day is actually 5, JW, and I never want to do that again. That was last year. I shot 5. Half bathrooms, you need your wides, so you got to shoot a 14. When they call, but any tips on getting in the door? Okay, Michelle, I'm gonna handle that one right now. For any half bathroom, get the tripod down low on the floor. You need a great tripod, you guys. You should have, if you're going to shoot properties, and I'm going to get to Michelle's question. If you're going to shoot properties, you got to invest in a great tripod, and I'm going to give you a price point for it. Your tripod should be roughly in the $200 to $300 range if you're going to do it, because you might need one that stretches over here, lays down on the floor, all that kind of stuff. Get down on the floor. If you're shooting properties, you got to get down on the floor and just edge the camera up just enough. And with that 14 prime, you're gonna be able to see the photograph of the bassinet, the lights, and all that kind of stuff. So there's a trick for you guys. I'm gonna throw that one in there. That's the golden tip of the day. You always got to get below the mirror with the camera. So getting in the door at a real estate company, and always use a level. Never ever make photos without a level. Yep. Thank you, Mike. Thank you for putting that at. The 055 Pro tripod is what I use all day. Now, here's another point. Am I a realtor? That's a really good question. That's a really good question. Before I was a photographer, I was in charge of operations for a company that did residential inspections and new construction consulting. That is my total connection to the real estate industry. So I was around homes before that. I spent 9 years doing that job. So that's my connection. And we marketed to realtors, mostly high-end realtors. What's up, Gina? So the 055, yeah, the zeros together, 055 together, no dash. All right. Getting through the door. Michelle asked, you guys hold up on the questions for just a quick second, and then I'm going to pause and you can bombard me with questions. Michelle asked about how do you get through the door with a realtor? And I'm going to give you a really, really easy answer. Put together a great brochure with tips about how to photograph properties and why, statistics, anything that's going to be helpful to that agent to get their thinking going a different way. Because most office managers don't want their agents, as a matter of fact, they'll put in strict guidelines and rules about how photography should be done, because that photography is representing that particular office. So the thing that you want to do is get in and present. Go in and say, can I do a presentation to educate your agents about real estate photography and what they could expect from a professional photographer or someone who does it professionally. So you have to go in from an educational standpoint, which means you got to know what you're talking about. You got to have the work to back it up, and you got to be willing to work with that particular office. That is one of the best ways to do it. You've got to do hand-to-hand combat, and then you have to basically remarket through social media, because they are going to look at your profile. So that's the easy answer, and there are other techniques and strategies that you can use. All right, any other questions before I get up out of here, you guys, because I'm going to rebroadcast on Facebook. I saw one other question pop up. Did I answer all of the questions that you guys put up? If we missed anything, I want to just knock it out real quick. Manfrotto, yeah, I like Manfrotto as well. Did we answer all the questions? I need to watch the replay. All right, fantastic. So just to kind of get through these lenses really quick, these are the lenses. That was a 20 that I just changed the screen on, you guys. This is the 24 to 70. This is the 14 to 24, excuse me. 14 to 24, $2,000 lens, $800 lens right here. So $800, $2,000. You can buy these used as well, but I don't, because of the amount of work that I'm going to put on these lenses. I buy them new. This particular lens right here is $2,100, and you need this because if you're shooting a building and it's tall, you can fix it on Sigma Art lenses. Okay, I definitely will do that, because I'm going to definitely invest in some to see how that works out. This is the Samyang or Rockinon. This is $600, so you go from $2,100 down to $600. It's usually good in 2 f-stops. So there's 2 f-stops on this lens. That's really good. It's usually these lenses are kind of stiff in some aspects, but they work. So I'm going to say that these are the bottom end of these particular lenses, but the Samyang does have good f-stops in them. You just got to find it. And then I think right below Nikon, and sometimes even as good as Nikon, you have the Sigma Art lenses, where you might have an f-stop that will shoot equal to the Nikon lens. But remember, these lenses are third-party lenses, and proprietary lenses are generally have advantages, because unfortunately, they're proprietary to the camera. So there's some slight advantages there. Can we see those advantages? Probably not, but I'm sure that they are. D810. Now, let me deal with this camera body question really quick. I don't shoot. I have an 810, right? I've got some great cameras. I still shoot my real estate interiors with a D3, you guys. And I'm going to take you over. Let me take you over here really quick. This is Adorama's used site. This is the camera that I'm using to make my photographs right here. And that's how much that camera's selling for. Now, here's the catch. I had this, the D3 that I'm using, when I started using it to shoot, because I was using a D300 for a long time. And then I just realized, you know what, the digital was changing, technology was changing, had to get up out of there. Just wasn't getting the total quality that I needed. So I started using my D3, and that definitely helped. But for me, it's about file size and workflow. Oh, thank you, Michelle. So this is the Adorama U site, you guys. And here's the D3. And as you can see, we could technically say I'm using a $550 camera to shoot those images that you just saw. This is totally being transparent. I'm using a $2,000 lens on a $550 camera. But the difference between my camera and that one is when I started shooting that camera last year, it only had 1,200 actuations on it. That's it. I never used it. I'm using a D3, not even a D3S. I'm using a D3. And it's because the file sizes move quickly through the workflow. Remember, everything is about the workflow and getting it fast. So when I'm using my 810 or D4 or any of those bigger cameras, you know the problems that I have is the files move really slow. And I've got a pretty fast computer at the house. It just moves slow. It takes longer. It takes longer to transfer them off. You know, I've got the Hoodman card reader. I got all that stuff. You know, the cables. The thing that I'm finding is the bigger files take longer. Yep. So Lamar, you know exactly what I'm saying. Now, if I'm on a high-end job, I'm going to pull those cameras out, and then I'm going to get like no, I don't say frustrated. I'm going to use those cameras because typically they could go for billboard or something like that. Yes. Yeah, it's even if you do the firmware, I mean, it's going to slow. Those files are huge, 60 meg files. You can change the resolution inside the camera, but there's still a lot of data there. Yep. So that's the reason why I use these cameras, and I look for D3s with low actuations on them just for that reason. So I'm a D3 predator in terms of buying those cameras because they fit into the workflow. Now, here's my prediction. Within the next year and a half, I probably will have to get out of the D3 and go into maybe the D4 because the price will be low enough that I could do it. So that's how I work it, you guys. All right. That's all I got for you. I hope this helps. Hope I've given you some insight. So now when I do the actual class, you guys will have all the tips that you need. You'll have the foundation. You don't need huge files for billboards. Yeah, exactly. You don't. You just need a clean file. How many properties would you typically shoot in one day? Now, about 2. Now is 2. So I try not to do more than 2 because it's taxing, and then you got to process. They want those pictures the next day, you guys. That's the other thing. On Facebook, I'll be on Facebook rebroadcasting. Yes, you should. Oh, you guys. Let me announce this. Let me announce this. So Mike the scientist, is going to be doing a gear oriented broadcast, you guys. Gear oriented, and maybe once or twice a week where he gets on and he really breaks down the fundamentals of gear and why. Because in these broadcasts, you know, it's so much information to cover that you just can't do it justice. And that's always been so. Just Keith B Dixon on Facebook. So Mike the scientist is going to be doing gear related scopes for us. So that should be exciting, real exciting. And Mike has a way of just breaking it down. Usually 20 to 30 files. 10 is all they really need, but 20 is the going rate right now. 20 files, 30 files. That's it. All right, you guys, I got to get out of here. I'm going to get on to Facebook. It is 8:09 Pacific Standard Time. So, Mike, yeah, Mike is on right now. Commander Mike, can you throw up some emojis so people will know to follow you? Throw up some emojis, Mike, so people will know. There he is right there. All right. Hey, benefits of the bomb squad, baby. Let's go. You're welcome. Hey, you guys, JW came up with the Kilo Bravo Delta. He was, let me see, a commander in the Navy. Is that right, JW? Commander? Were you a commander in the Navy? I know it was pretty high. All right. So while JW's typing that in, yeah. So JW was a commander in the Navy, you guys. So he came up with the Kilo Bravo Delta Zone. That's where I got it from. So, and it fits. I love it. Yes. All right, you guys. I'm jumping over to Facebook. I gotta go ahead and set this up. Thank you for tuning in tonight. I hope that I was able to I've always hesitated in talking about real estate photography because it's really complicated, you guys, and it's so integral, you know, to get things right and straight. So I hope I did it justice tonight. Anyhow, thank you for tuning in. My name is Keith B Dixon. This is the Kilo Bravo Delta Zone. We come on 5 days a week, you guys. I won't be on Monday. But I'll definitely be on Tuesday, and I won't be broadcasting over the weekend. You guys have a great night. JW, thanks for tuning in, man. I miss you, and we'll be seeing you on Facebook if you decide to come over. Peace. Thank you.